First contact under fire. The stars appeared as distant pinpricks against the infinite blackness of space as the UES Vanguard cruised silently through the void. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes reflecting the glow of the tactical displays surrounding her command station. The Vanguard, Earth's most advanced warship, had been her home for the past 3 years during its construction and trials. Now they were making history with every minute that passed, the first human vessel to venture beyond the Kuiper Belt. All systems nominal, Captain, reported Commander Jackson Chen, her XO, from his station. We're maintaining course at half power. FTL drive cooled and ready for the next jump. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of command and the eyes of Earth's billions upon her shoulders. The mission was straightforward. Push humanity's boundaries, test the experimental faster-than-light drive in deep space, and return home with the data. 6 weeks out, 6 weeks back. A simple exploratory mission. Lieutenant Patel, anything on long-range sensors? Elena asked, turning to the young woman manning the sensor array. Patel frowned, adjusting settings on her console. Actually, yes. I'm picking up energy readings approximately 2 light hours ahead. Massive power signatures, multiple sources, moving erratically. Natural phenomenon? Elena asked, already knowing the answer in her gut. Negative, Captain. These are artificial. And there's weapons fire. The bridge fell silent. Humanity had debated for centuries whether they were alone in the universe. Now, 13 days into their maiden voyage, they had their answer, and it appeared to be a violent one. Tactical display. Elena ordered, and the main view screen shifted to show a cluster of energy signatures, split into 2 distinct groups. One group, marked in blue by the computer, was clearly retreating. The second group, in red, pursued with mechanical precision. Recommendations? Elena asked, looking at her senior staff. Commander Chen spoke first. Protocol would dictate observation only, Captain. We're not equipped for first contact scenarios, especially hostile ones. Dr. Maya Okafor, the ship's chief xenobiologist, shook her head. We should gather all possible data. This is unprecedented. Lieutenant Commander Rickard, tactical officer, remained pragmatic. We should maintain distance but prepare defensive systems. Those energy readings suggest weaponry far beyond our own capabilities. Elena considered their input, then made her decision. Helm, set course to intercept at maximum sublight. Tactical, bring weapons systems to standby but keep them powered down. Communications, prepare all first contact protocols. Captain, Chen objected softly. I must remind you our mission parameters were written by people who couldn't have anticipated this scenario. Elena finished. I'm logging this as my decision alone. If I'm wrong, I'll face the consequences when we return home. The Vanguard accelerated, its revolutionary ion engines pushing the kilometer-long vessel through space with increasing speed. As they drew closer, the sensor data refined, and Lieutenant Patel's voice grew more urgent. I can confirm 2 distinct groups of vessels. The group in retreat appears to be defending a larger ship, possibly a transport or civilian vessel. They're taking heavy losses. The tactical display confirmed her assessment. The larger blue signature was surrounded by smaller vessels, several of which had already winked out of existence while they watched. We're being scanned, Rickard announced. Multiple directed energy emissions from both groups. They'd noticed us, Elena murmured. Tactical, defensive screens to maximum. Helm, continue approach. Communications, broadcast first contact packet on all frequencies. The Vanguard's powerful transmitters began sending Earth's carefully crafted greeting. Mathematical sequences, basic scientific principles, and simple language primers designed to establish peaceful intent. Captain, we're close enough for visual, Patel reported. On screen. The main view screen shifted to show an incredible sight. Sleek, angular ships with bioluminescent hulls. The Blue Group, desperately defending against metallic, insectoid vessels that moved with perfect coordination. Energy weapons flashed between them, silent in the vacuum of space. The metallic vessels are demonstrating swarm behaviors, Dr. Okafor noted. Look at their attack patterns. They are functioning as a collective. As they watched, 3 of the defending ships were caught in crossfire and destroyed, their hulls rupturing in spectacular but silent explosions. The larger vessel they were protecting was now directly exposed to the attackers. "Captain," Chen urged, "we need to make a decision." Elena stood, her mind made up. Tactical, target the lead attacking vessels. Fire a warning shot across their formation. Kinetic rounds only. "Aye, Captain," Rickard acknowledged, entering the commands. The Vanguard's main railgun charged with a low hum that reverberated through the ship. When it fired, there was barely a sound, just a slight shudder as a tungsten projectile accelerated to a fraction of light speed. The effect was immediate and unexpected. The projectile tore through space and passed directly in front of the attacking formation. One vessel, unable to alter course in time, collided with the hypervelocity round. The impact was catastrophic. The alien ship simply disintegrated. "Direct hit," Rickard reported, surprise evident in his voice. "I was aiming to miss by a safe margin, but they changed course unpredictably." The attacking formation froze momentarily, as if processing this new development. Then, as one, they broke off their attack and reoriented toward the Vanguard. "I believe we have their attention," Chen said dryly. "They're scanning us intensively," Paddle reported. Energy buildup detected in their forward sections. "Evasive maneuvers," Elena ordered. "Prepare to return fire if—" She didn't finish her sentence. A brilliant beam of energy lanced out from the lead attacking vessel, striking the Vanguard dead center. The ship shuddered, but held firm. "Shields holding at 87% capacity," Rickard called out. "Minimal damage to outer hull plating." Elena's eyebrows rose in surprise. Their defensive systems, originally designed to withstand meteoric impacts and solar radiation, were apparently more effective against alien weaponry than anyone could have predicted. "Return fire. Target their weapons systems only. Full spread. Point defense pattern." The Vanguard's secondary railguns activated, firing smaller projectiles in rapid succession. Unlike modern energy weapons, these kinetic projectiles were virtually impossible to detect before impact, and the attacking ships paid the price. 5 vessels were struck, their hulls breached or weapons systems destroyed. The effect on the alien formation was immediate. They scattered, their perfect synchronicity broken. After a brief moment of apparent confusion, they regrouped and began to retreat. "They're withdrawing," Captain Paddle confirmed. Elena didn't have time to celebrate. The defenders. "The remaining vessels are regrouping around their transport. We're receiving a transmission from them." On speakers, a series of musical tones and clicks emanated from the bridge speakers. The ship's AI worked frantically to find patterns, but it was clearly a language unlike any heard on Earth. "Continue broadcasting our first contact package," Elena ordered. "Add visual data if possible." Minutes passed as the Vanguard's computers attempted to establish basic communication. Finally, the speakers crackled. "Unknown vessel," came a stilted, synthesized voice. "You assist. Why?" Elena took a deep breath. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. We observe your vessels under attack and chose to intervene. We come in peace and offer assistance if needed." There was a pause, then, "Approach permitted. Caution advised. Hegemony may return." "The hegemony? I assume those are the attackers?" Elena asked. "Correct. We Concordian Alliance. You, unexplored region species. Yes, we are humans from the planet Earth. This is our first journey beyond our solar system." Another long pause. "Impossible. Your technology. Advanced. Your weapons. Effective." Commander Chen leaned close to Elena. "They're surprised by our capabilities, Captain. That could be advantageous." Elena nodded. We have much to discuss and learn from each other. We offer medical and technical assistance if needed. Accepted. Permission dock connecting vessel. As the communication ended, Elena turned to her senior staff. Well, it seems we've made first contact and already picked a side in what appears to be an interstellar conflict. Not exactly how the mission briefing described this journey. Dr. Okafor couldn't contain her excitement. Captain, do you realize what this means? We've not only confirmed intelligent alien life, but we're about to have direct contact. Let's hope they remain grateful for our intervention, Rickard added pragmatically. Elena nodded. Commander Chen, prepare a diplomatic team. Dr. Okafor, you'll lead the scientific contingent. Let's make a good first impression. She paused, looking at the damaged alien vessels on the view screen. And let's hope Earth is ready for what comes next, because I suspect our little corner of the galaxy just got a lot more complicated. As the Vanguard moved closer to the alien fleet, none of the crew could have predicted how profoundly their actions would reshape humanity's future among the stars. What had begun as a simple test flight had just catapulted humanity onto the galactic stage. Whether they were ready. Diplomatic gambit. 2 weeks after their unexpected first contact, the UES Vanguard approached the massive space station that served as Concordian Alliance headquarters. Through the viewport, Captain Elena Reyes studied the structure with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The station resembled an enormous snowflake, with 6 symmetrical arms extending from a central hub that glowed with a soft, bioluminescent blue light. Magnificent engineering, Lieutenant Commander Rickard commented beside her. Those outer arms must be at least 5 kilometers long each. Elena nodded. And to think, 2 weeks ago, we believed we were alone in the universe. The journey to Alliance territory had been filled with intensive information exchange. The Concordian Alliance, they learned, was a coalition of 11 spacefaring species united against the expansionist hegemony, a hive mind species that assimilated worlds and resources with ruthless efficiency. The war had raged for over 70 Earth years, with the Alliance gradually losing ground. Captain, we're receiving docking instructions, Lieutenant Patil announced from her station. Acknowledged. Helm, follow their guidance precisely. Elena turned to Commander Chen. Is our diplomatic team prepared? Chen nodded. Dr. Okafor has briefed everyone on the cultural information we gathered. Ambassador Kido from the Alliance vessel has been helpful, though I suspect they're as cautious about sharing information as we are. Understandable. We appeared out of nowhere with technology that somehow countered hegemony weaponry. They're likely as suspicious as they are grateful. Elena straightened her uniform. Let's proceed carefully. Earth's future may depend on the relationships we forge here. The docking process was handled with precision. As the airlocks engaged, Elena led her team. Commander Chen, Dr. Okafor, Lieutenant Rickard, and 2 security officers, to meet their hosts. The inner doors slid open to reveal 3 aliens waiting in the station's reception chamber. At the center stood Ambassador Kido, the Alacrity's commander they had rescued. The Concordian stood nearly 2 meters tall with an iridescent exoskeleton that shifted colors subtly as they moved. Their 4 upper limbs ended in 7-fingered hands, while 2 powerful lower limbs supported their weight. Their oval head featured compound eyes that gleamed with intelligence. Flanking Kido were 2 different species, one a short, stocky being with gray skin and elaborate cranial ridges, the other a willowy figure whose translucent skin revealed swirling patterns beneath. Captain Reyes. Kido's translation device rendered their clicks and whistles into English. Welcome to Harmonic Confluence Station. May your first steps here begin a path of mutual understanding. Elena performed the gesture of respect they had been taught. Right hand open at chest level, left hand palm down at the waist. Ambassador Kido, we are honored by your welcome. The people of Earth extend friendship to the Concordian Alliance. Kido's exoskeleton flashed blue, a sign of pleasure they had learned. Allow me to introduce Delegate Morik of the Taurian Collective. The short, stocky alien nodded and high speaker lioness of the Ethereum communion. The willowy being inclined their head. The Alliance Council awaits your address, Kiddo continued. They are eager to hear directly from the species whose intervention has created such interest. Elena detected the careful word choice, interest, not excitement or hope. The Alliance was proceeding cautiously, just as she would in their position. Their party was escorted through the station's curved corridors. Aliens of various species moved purposefully about their tasks, some stopping to stare openly at the humans. Elena noted the diversity, some bipedal, others with multiple limbs, some clearly cybernetically enhanced, all coexisting in what appeared to be a functional society. You mentioned the council, Elena said to Kiddo as they walked. May I ask about its composition? One representative from each member species, Kiddo replied. Decisions require majority consensus, with emergency powers vested in the High Command during military crisis, which is most of the time these days, Delegate Morik added, his translator rendering his guttural speech. The hegemony advances on 3 fronts. We've lost 2 colony systems in the past cycle alone. They entered a vast chamber where a semicircular table seated delegates from the Alliance species. Above them, a massive holographic display showed star systems and territorial boundaries. Blue for Alliance, red for hegemony, with a disturbing amount of red pushing into blue. As Elena addressed the council, explaining Earth's history and their unexpected encounter, she could feel the undercurrent of tension. These beings were fighting for survival against an implacable enemy, and humanity had just demonstrated technology that affected the balance of power. What intrigues us, said a mantis-like counselor, is how your kinetic weapons proved so effective against hegemony shields. Our energy-based weapons require sustained bombardment to penetrate their defenses. Elena exchanged glances with Rickard before answering carefully. Our technology developed along different paths. Without faster-than-light communications to share innovations across species, we solved problems independently. Yet you claim to be new to interstellar travel. This from a being composed of what appeared to be crystalline segments. Your vessel's capabilities suggest otherwise. Before Elena could respond, warning klaxons echoed through the chamber. The holographic display flashed red, showing multiple signals appearing at the system's edge. Hegemony vessels, called out a technician. Scout formation with destroyer support. The council erupted in urgent communication as Elena's team was quickly escorted to a tactical center deeper in the station. Screens showed Alliance defensive ships moving to intercept the intruders. They've never probed this deep into Alliance space before, Kiddo explained, their exoskeleton now a worried amber hue. This is no coincidence, Captain. They're here because of you. They want to assess our capabilities, Rickard surmised, or capture our ship to study its technology. Indeed, said a gruff voice behind them. A heavily augmented being entered the tactical center, immediately commanding the attention of all present. I am Admiral Torzek, Alliance High Command. Your arrival has altered hegemony behavior patterns. They see you as a threat or an opportunity. Elena straightened. The Vanguard stands ready to assist in defense. Unnecessary, Torzek replied. Our forces can handle this incursion. The question is what comes after. The Admiral fixed multifaceted eyes on Elena. The hegemony now knows of Earth's existence. They will come for your world, whether you join us or not. It is only a matter of time. The implication was clear. Earth faced a choice between formal alliance or eventual hegemony invasion. Elena felt the weight of billions of lives resting on decisions she had no authority to make. I need to contact my government, she said finally. This goes far beyond my mission parameters. Understood, Torzak nodded. But be aware, your transmission will be detected. The hegemony will trace it back to your solar system. Elena's blood ran cold. Earth had no planetary defenses against an interstellar threat. Then what do you suggest? A diplomatic mission, Kiddo interjected. Allow us to send representatives to Earth alongside your ship. We can establish secure communications and begin proper negotiations while our scientists examine your vessel's technology for potential adaptation to our fleet. Chen leaned close to Elena. Captain, sharing military technology without government authorization could save Earth from annihilation, she finished quietly. We're already involved, Commander. The question is how to ensure humanity's best chance of survival. The tactical displays showed the hegemony scouts retreating after a brief skirmish. But everyone present knew this was just the beginning. Over the next 3 days, Elena found herself in continuous meetings with Alliance officials. Dr. Okafor worked with xenobiologists, sharing basic information about human physiology, while learning about the diverse Alliance species. Rickard and his team carefully explained human weapons systems to their Alliance counterparts, revealing enough to demonstrate cooperation without compromising Earth's security. On the 4th day, Elena was summoned to a secure chamber deep within the station. Only Admiral Torzak and 2 security officers were present. Captain Reyes. Torzak began without preamble. We've uncovered disturbing information. We believe hegemony infiltrators have penetrated this station. Elena frowned. Infiltrators. I thought the hegemony was a hive species. How could they disguise themselves? They've developed bioengineered proxies, non-hegemony beings controlled through neural implants. We've discovered evidence of compromised security protocols coinciding with your arrival. What's their objective? We believe they intend to sabotage the upcoming diplomatic summit where your world's inclusion in the Alliance would be formalized. Torzak's expression grew grave. If successful, it could sow distrust between Earth and the Alliance before our partnership even begins. Why tell me this? Elena asked. Surely your security forces are potentially compromised. Torzak finished. I'm sharing this because, as newcomers, your people are the only ones I can be certain aren't infiltrated. I need your help, Captain. Elena considered for a moment. What exactly are you asking? We've narrowed the potential infiltrators to 3 individuals with access to the summit chamber. I need your team to help identify and neutralize the threat without alerting the broader station population. Panic would only serve the hegemony's purposes. Within hours, Elena had briefed her senior staff on their unexpected assignment. Rickard established a secure operations center in their guest quarters, while Dr. Okafor analyzed the biological data on the suspected infiltrators. The neural control technology is sophisticated, Dr. Okafor explained, pointing to brain scans. It mimics natural neural patterns, making it nearly undetectable. However, there's a subtle power signature that might be traceable with our quantum sensors, technology the Alliance hasn't developed. So we modify our handheld scanners and conduct surveillance, Chen suggested. But how do we approach this without raising suspicion? Elena studied the station schematics. The summit preparation gives us cover. We'll integrate with the security teams as cultural consultants ensuring human protocols are respected. That gives us access to all 3 suspects. The plan proceeded smoothly until the day before the summit. Lieutenant Patel, monitoring communications from the Vanguard, detected an encrypted transmission originating from within the station. It's using a frequency band we've never seen before, she reported. But the pattern suggests it's a countdown. Rickard traced the transmission to maintenance section B7, near the station's power distribution hub. That area is restricted, but one of our suspects has authorization. Technician Frel. We need to move now, Elena decided. Commander Chen, take a team and find Frel. Lieutenant Rickard, coordinate with station security, but keep this contained. Dr. Okafor, what effect would an EMP have on the neural control implants? It would disrupt them temporarily, possibly giving the host consciousness a chance to reassert control, the doctor replied. But a station-wide EMP would affect critical systems. Then we'll need a localized solution. Elena turned to Rickard. Can you modify a sidearm to emit a focused electromagnetic pulse? Working against time, they assembled their countermeasures. When Chen's team cornered Technician Vrel in a junction near the power hub, they found him placing what appeared to be explosive devices. "Vrel, step away from the equipment," Chen ordered, his modified scanner confirming the neural implant signature. The technician turned, his eyes unnaturally vacant. "You are too late. The hegemony has already won. Your species will be assimilated or exterminated." Elena approached slowly, the modified pulse emitter concealed. "We know you're being controlled. Vrel, the real you is still in there." "There is only the collective now," the technician replied, reaching for a detonator. Elena activated the pulse emitter. Vrel convulsed, dropping to his knees as the neural override temporarily failed. His eyes cleared, showing terror and confusion. "Help me," he gasped, fighting for control of his own body. "They're in my head, watching through my eyes. The summit, it's a diversion. The real target is your ship." Security teams neutralized the explosives while Elena raced back to the docking bay. Sure enough, 2 more infiltrators were attempting to board the Vanguard, carrying what appeared to be data extraction devices. The resulting confrontation was brief but violent. One infiltrator was captured, the other killed when he triggered a biological self-destruct mechanism rather than be taken alive. In the aftermath, Admiral Torzak personally thanked Elena and her crew. "You've prevented a catastrophe that would have shattered our potential alliance before it began. The hegemony fears what Earth brings to this conflict, not just your technology, but your unpredictability. You think differently than we do." As preparations for the summit resumed, Elena found herself standing at a viewport, staring at the stars in the direction of Earth, invisible at this distance, but ever present in her thoughts. "Penny for your thoughts, Captain," Commander Chen asked, joining her. "I was just thinking about how much has changed in 2 weeks," she replied. "We left Earth to test an engine and returned as participants in an interstellar war. Do you think Earth will join the Alliance?" Elena considered the question carefully. "They'll have to. The hegemony won't ignore us now, and we can't face them alone." She turned from the viewport. "Whatever happens at the summit tomorrow, Commander, humanity's isolation has ended. For better or worse, we're part of a much larger community now." "And a much larger conflict," Chen added soberly. "Yes," Elena agreed. "But if today proved anything, it's that humanity brings something unique to this fight. The question is whether it will be enough." The Earth Defense. The return journey to Earth was tense aboard the UES Vanguard. Captain Elena Rice spent long hours in her quarters reviewing the data they'd gathered and the preliminary alliance agreement the Concordian Council had drafted. Accompanying them were 3 alliance representatives: Ambassador Kido, military liaison Commander Drav, and science envoy Talera, each from a different species and each carrying the hopes of their civilizations. "Captain to the bridge." Commander Chen's voice came over the intercom, interrupting her thoughts. "We're approaching the solar system." When Elena arrived on the bridge, the main view screen showed the distant glow of Sol, Earth's sun, still just a bright star among many. "Communications, prepare to transmit our approach codes," she ordered. "And the first contact package the Alliance provided. Let's give Earth some time to process before we arrive." "Aye, Captain," Lieutenant Choi responded from the communication station. "Though I must remind you that transmitting will alert any hegemony scouts in the vicinity to our location." "Understood, but we can't just appear in orbit unannounced. Earth's defense systems would react poorly." Elena turned to Ambassador Kido, who stood observing from the side of the bridge. "Ambassador, this is your final opportunity to reconsider. Your presence may be viewed as threatening by some on my world." Kido's exoskeleton rippled with what the humans had learned was a gesture of resolve. "The risk is necessary, Captain. The hegemony moves quickly once they identify a potential threat or resource." Elena nodded grimly and gave the order. The Vanguard's powerful communications array activated, sending their message toward Earth at light speed. It would arrive hours before they did, giving Earth's governments time to prepare. though how one prepared for first contact and news of an interstellar war was anyone's guess. Message away, Choi confirmed, encrypted as per protocol. Hours passed as the Vanguard moved deeper into the solar system. They were passing Jupiter's orbit when the sensors detected the first anomaly. "Captain, I'm reading unusual gravimetric disturbances at these coordinates," Lieutenant Puddle reported, highlighting a region of space ahead of them. "Natural phenomenon?" Elena asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Negative. The pattern suggests artificial manipulation of spacetime, similar to the Alliance FTL signatures, but different." Commander Drav, the Reptilian Alliance military liaison, moved to the sensor station with alarming speed. "Hegemony jump signatures," he hissed. "They're already here." The bridge erupted in controlled chaos as stations reported, and Elena issued rapid orders. The main view screen shifted to tactical display, showing 3, no 5, large vessels emerging from what appeared to be localized spacetime distortions. "They must have dispatched a fast scout to locate Earth after our first encounter," Kiddo said, their translator barely keeping up with their agitated clicks. "This is an advance force, likely tasked with disabling your planet's defenses before the main fleet arrives." Elena's mind raced. Earth had no meaningful space defenses beyond a handful of orbital platforms, designed to track asteroids, not repel invasions. The Vanguard was literally the only ship capable of interstellar combat. "Communications, alert Earth Defense Command. Send them everything we have on hegemony capabilities. Tactical, bring weapons systems to full readiness." Elena turned to her XO. "Commander Chen, prepare all railgun batteries and missile systems. We'll need every advantage." "Captain," Science and Voitelara spoke up, her melodious voice almost musical despite the dire circumstances. "If I may." The hegemony vessels appear to be settlement seeders. They contain terraforming equipment and initial colonization resources. "They're not just here to destroy," Kiddo translated grimly. "They're here to take Earth for themselves." The implications were chilling. The hegemony didn't just wage war, they consumed. Worlds, resources, even populations, all absorbed into their collective. "We're being hailed," Choi announced, from Earth Defense Command. On screen, Admiral Hernandez of the Global Defense Initiative appeared, his expression a mixture of shock and professional composure. "Captain Rice, your message arrived 90 minutes ago. We've been trying to verify its authenticity. Now I'm looking at alien ships approaching Earth." "Explain." "Admiral, everything in our transmission is accurate. The vessels you're detecting are hostile forces from an interstellar collective known as the Hegemony. They represent an immediate threat to Earth. We've made tentative allies." She gestured to the Alliance representatives. "But we need to coordinate Earth's defenses now." To his credit, Admiral Hernandez adapted quickly. "Our orbital platforms are being armed, but they weren't designed for this scenario. We're mobilizing ground-based kinetic strike systems and preparing population centers for possible emergency measures. The Vanguard will engage the hegemony vessels to buy time," Elena said. "But we're outnumbered and their technology exceeds ours in many respects." "Not all respects," Commander Drav interjected. "Your kinetic weapons proved surprisingly effective in your first encounter." A plan began forming in Elena's mind. "Admiral, do we still have the Artemis network operational?" Hernandez's eyes widened. "The asteroid defense system? Yes, all 20 platforms are functional, but they're designed to fragment incoming objects, not engage ships." "But they're essentially railguns in space," Elena pressed. "Can they be retargeted?" "Theoretically, yes. I'll have our best people on it immediately." As the communication ended, Elena turned to her tactical team. "The Vanguard alone can't stop 5 hegemony vessels, but we can disrupt their formation and target their weak points." "Commander Drav, what vulnerabilities should we exploit?" The reptilian officer displayed hegemony ship schematics on a tactical screen. "Their propulsion systems are heavily shielded, but their sensor arrays are more exposed. Disabling those would blind them, and disrupt their collective coordination. For the next hour, Elena worked with both her crew and Earth Defense Command to formulate a strategy. The hegemony vessels approached methodically, ignoring all communication attempts. They were now passing Mars orbit. "All stations report ready, Captain," Chen announced. "Earth Defense is spinning up the Artemis platforms and has evacuated non-essential personnel from orbital facilities." Elena took a deep breath. "Set intercept course. Maximum speed." The Vanguard surged forward, its powerful engines pushing it toward the incoming threat. On Earth below, populations were being informed of the situation through emergency broadcasts. Panic was inevitable, but humanity had spent decades imagining this scenario in fiction. Now that it was reality, people were reacting with surprising resilience. "Weapons range in 30 seconds, Rickard reported from Tactical. "They're scanning us intensively," Patil added, "and adjusting their formation." "They remember us," Elena said grimly. "Target the lead vessel's sensor array and fire when ready." The Vanguard's main railgun charged and fired in one smooth operation. The hypersonic projectile crossed the distance in seconds, striking the hegemony vessel precisely where Commander Drav had indicated. The alien ship's shields flared brilliantly but held. "Minimal damage to target," Rickard reported. "They've adapted their shields since our last encounter." Before Elena could order another attack, the hegemony vessels responded. Energy beams lanced out from 3 ships simultaneously, converging on the Vanguard. The ship shuddered violently as the shields absorbed the impact. "Shields at 62% and falling," Chen called out. "They've improved their weapons too." The battle quickly became a dangerous dance as the Vanguard used its superior maneuverability to avoid the worst of the hegemony attacks while targeting vulnerable points with precision strikes. 2 more railgun shots managed to penetrate the lead vessel's shields, disrupting its sensor capabilities. "We've gotten their attention," Elena observed as the hegemony ships focused more fully on the Vanguard. "Earth Defense, what's the status of Artemis?" "Platforms 1 through 8 ready and targeted," came the response. "Awaiting your mark." Elena studied the tactical display. The Vanguard had drawn the hegemony ships into a tighter formation as they coordinated their attack. "Perfect. Execute Artemis strike now." From 8 points in Earth orbit, massive railguns that had been designed to shatter approaching asteroids fired simultaneously. Each projectile was smaller than the Vanguard's main weapon, but still devastating at their velocity. The hegemony ships, focused on the Vanguard, detected the incoming threat too late. 6 of the 8 projectiles found their marks. 2 hegemony vessels suffered catastrophic shield failures, their hulls breached in multiple locations. A third spun out of control, its propulsion systems damaged. "Direct hits," Rickard called out, unable to keep the triumph from his voice. "The Artemis platforms are recalibrating for a second volley." But the hegemony adapted quickly. The 2 undamaged vessels shifted position, placing themselves between Earth and their damaged compatriots. Their weapons recharged, targeting not the Vanguard but the orbital platforms. "They're firing on the Artemis network," Patil reported. "Platforms 3 and 7 destroyed." Elena clenched her jaw. "Bring us about. Target the vessel on the left flank. All batteries, fire as you bear." The Vanguard swung around, its secondary railguns firing in sequence. Most shots were absorbed by the hegemony shields, but the barrage forced them to divert power from weapons to defenses. Captain, Science and Voitelara approached Elena's command station. "I've been analyzing their shield modulations. There's a pattern to how they adapt. It's predictable if you know what to look for." "Can we exploit it?" "Yes, but it would require precise timing."